year to date, market is down by 19.1%. We're pretty much in bear market territory. Got to be down like year to date 20% to hit the bear market territory. 21,700 points is where the all share index is. Every single sector closed negative. I think banking was the top loser yesterday by 9%. Consumer goods down by 3.6, insurance down by 1.5, oil and gas down by 0.8%, industrial goods down by 0.8% as well. I believe there were only 9 gainers on the exchange, while 25 of them lost value. So pretty nasty out there, pretty volatile as far as the stock market is concerned. But the main gist is that they're going to be trading remotely. So we'll see how that works out as the social distancing continues to affect activities across the business landscape. The other thing that's going on today though is the Monetary Policy Committee. They are meeting today, well, they actually met yesterday and they're meeting today as well. So today is going to be the concluding day of their meeting. Mr. Godwin Emefiele and the rest of the committee is going to be getting together to decide what to do about interest rates. Lagos, what do you think they're going to do? I think they're going to hold rates, although some folks believe that they're going to cut. So look, what's the economic backdrop against which the Monetary Policy Committee is meeting? Well, we had 2.5% growth in the fourth quarter of last year, mostly boosted by festive activities. It's been expected that Q1 will see a slowdown in the first quarter of this year. That was before the coronavirus issues actually came through. We know that the central bank, of course, at the last meeting in January. In fact, let me give you the full slate of meetings here. Let me give you the full menu of MPC meetings that we're going to have this year. So they met in January the 20th. They're meeting, of course, today or January 20th and 21st. They're meeting today, and they met yesterday and today, March 22nd, March 23rd. We got another meeting May 25th. We got another meeting July 20th, September 21st, and November 23rd. So those are the scheduled meetings for 2020. In fact, I thought the MPC was going to practice social distancing and not actually meet today, but or maybe do it remotely. But either way, they're meeting. We'll find out the outcome. So at the last meeting, they hiked the CRR cash reserve ratio by 500 basis points from 22.5% to 27.5% in a bid to curb liquidity on the side of the banks. They entered the LDR ratio has been pushed forward. They're trying to get the banks to lend more, and they're saying banks, you got to use as much as you can in order to actually push lending to the real sector. So the benchmark interest rate still at 13.5. Now, inflation has been creeping up. It's at 12.2% year on year for February. Are they going to hike rates? I can't see that happening. Right, in an environment where you're trying to stimulate aggregate demand and you're trying to juice up the markets, will you be raising rates on top of already increasing CRR? I don't think so. So I think I'm cutting that out of the equation. Although it will be interesting to see if anybody thinks that rates are going to go up. Now again, I said I think they're going to hold, but again, some folks think that they're going to cut rates. Why? Okay, so we already know that the central bank has listed in regards to reacting to the coronavirus issues and trying to cushion affected sectors of the economy. They're targeting healthcare, targeting agriculture, targeting manufacturing. We know that the part of the stimulus measures that the central bank put in place was one to extend a moratorium on their intervention loans, right? Like the Anchor Borrowers Program and other intervention loans that they have there. So one of them was to increase the moratorium. Moratorium basically means that, listen, you don't have to pay back for a certain amount of time, which I believe was 1 year, if backdated to March the 1st. I believe also all rates on their intervention facilities were also cut from 400 basis points, from 9% to 5%, also effective March 1st. They also extended their intervention facilities to the pharmaceutical companies because they expected that there's going to be a lot of people visiting pharmacies. Those are our touch points when it comes to medical aid in the country. We already know the hospitals are having issues, but the central bank didn't leave out the hospitals, but they are extending intervention facilities to pharmaceutical companies hospitals, healthcare practitioners, as well as they said, increasing the size of intervention facilities to the agricultural and manufacturing sectors. All right, we're keeping up. So moratorium extended, rates cut, intervention rates, so 9% to 5%, and also extending the intervention facilities to pharmaceutical companies, hospitals, healthcare practitioners, as well as agricultural and manufacturing sectors. Then creating a 50 billion naira credit facility for households and SMEs that have been hit by COVID 19, allowing banks to consider, to think about it, consider temporary and time limited restructuring of loan tenure and terms for businesses and households that have been affected. So they're also allowing them to do that, particularly to the oil and gas sector. If you are in the upstream sector of oil and gas, oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. You know, with where oil prices are right now. So we know that there's a number of loans that have been extended to the oil and gas sector. So they're saying, hey, banks, give the oil and gas players a break. You know, consider restructuring some of these loans. You know, let's try to allow them to tread water here during these trying times. And then encourage banks to maintain credit to individuals and businesses, as well as consider incentives to banks to give out longer tenured facilities, and then the establishment of a 1.1 trillion intervention fund to support critical sectors of the economy. So if you look at all this, now I'm talking now about the folks who believe that central bank is going to cut rates today. These are measures that are going to add liquidity to the system, right? Because you're putting together all this money that you're throwing at these different sectors in order to support them. So you're adding, liquidity to the system. And we all know that the central bank has, well, outside of the cutting rates from I think 14 to 13.5, they've been particular about watching liquidity levels because they don't want that putting too much pressure on the naira. You very well know if you come into a bunch of money tomorrow, you're probably going to go look at that USD or pound sterling or something, unless you're going to think about investing it somewhere. But usually, when you have an excess of liquidity, it usually starts chasing USD. So these are the two factors that the central bank or the MPC is going to have to be looking at. How do we stimulate the economy on the one hand, while also trying to check the amount of liquidity in the system? It's some say it's caught between the devil and the deep blue sea, on a rock and a hard place. What do you guys think they're going to do? Papi K says they're going to hold, well, he's suggesting hold the MPR, which is at 13.5, and relax the CRR. That's my prediction. Rotus, CBN alone can't do it. Banks need motivation to lend. That is from Papi K. Benga Kamu says, what difference does a cut or holding of rates do? Oil price is falling like the weather. Economic activity is slowing. That's from Benga Kamu. Also says, a company a friend works for asked them to stay at home and cut salaries by half. Ouch. We hope they can find a cure for this thing quickly. He also says all of us have been affected by the coronavirus, so any CBN initiatives should take all Nigerians into consideration. Yep. Thanks, Papi K and Benga. Yeah, good points, right? Again, these facilities, these stimulus facilities that the central bank is putting together, again, they are primarily geared at the intervention facilities. Yeah, so it's really, when you think about it, it's not quite taking everybody into account. So that's what they're dealing with. So for the folks who believe that the central bank is going to cut rates, they believe it's supposed to support the measures that have been put forward in order to support these different sectors of the economy, that being, manufacturing, healthcare, pharmaceuticals, agriculture, and so on and so forth. So some believe that it's like a symbolic cut, because really, does the benchmark interest rate, is that really what moves things, if you think about it? So they think it's probably going to be a symbolic move. Now, you don't want to cut too much, because then you're only spurring more liquidity in the system, which is going to put pressure on FX. You definitely don't want to hike, because you're going to tighten things. So like they did at the last meeting, and Papi K was referring to the last meeting, they just increased CRR while keeping things in place. So do they now relax it? Again, that was a check on the bank. So again, cash reserve ratio essentially at 27.5% is saying that for every 100 naira that you have, the 27 naira 50 kobo has to be held, held on to one side with the CBN. So there's that dynamic that they have to be working with regards to the outcome of the meeting. So we'll see, but it's if you think about things, right? This coronavirus thing came at a tough time because they didn't see back in January when they were hiking CRR and placing a hold on banks as far as liquidity is concerned. They didn't see this virus hitting everybody as hard as it did, and now you kind of have to backtrack, as what Papi K is referring to, saying that they should relax the CRR. You kind of have to now backtrack on that move. I don't know if they'll do that, so I'm saying they'll hold. Again, we'll see. I think they'll just hold everything in place. Why? They've kind of already put a check on foreign exchange by making foreign exchange more expensive, aka devaluation, which we talked about yesterday with Emmanuel, right? So if you've already because of the pressure you've been facing on FX, oil prices have fallen to where they are. I think it's about what, $28, $29 yesterday. Might be hitting 30. With the pressure you've seen on FX, oil prices falling because of the shakara that Russia and Saudi Arabia have been doing their nonsense and making everybody suffer over the past few weeks. Because of that, also foreign portfolio investors have kind of been exiting. I understand, I believe Emmanuel mentioned it yesterday, that on the I&E window, the investors and exporters window, there was a net outflow of $1.5 billion in February and about $1.7 billion net outflow in March, meaning more money left the window than came in. So you're facing those pressures. You got oil prices falling. What do you do? So they moved, right? They moved the official exchange rate from 307 to 360. At the I&E window, they moved that rate from 366 to 380. We all remember the circular that they put out last week telling the banks that for international money transfer service operators, the IMTSOs, who are sending money to the banks, you're going to get it at 376. Dear banks, you're going to sell to the CBN at 377. CBN then sells to BDCs 378. BDCs then sell to UI, Papike, Benga, MI, everybody else at 380. So that's a check. So if they already put a check on Forex by making it more expensive, I don't know if they now go back and either try to check liquidity again on the other hand to try to keep people from going after Forex. Again, I'm just speculating here. I don't know what they're going to come out and do. But if you've already done that on the FX side, okay, you've theoretically taken care of that. So now you move to now say, okay, what do we now do about the rate? Which is why, again, we were just coming from January. I don't think they can just turn around and relax CRR, or we'll see. We'll see. I don't know. We'll see. Again, this is why we're here. We're all just gonna, see how things go. MI says, I hear all these big English from the CBN, but I'm really here for trickle down economics. On paper, great ideas, but how is the real sector positively affected? This 20 from FG is the only thing we have enjoyed so far. Sarcasm. I think it's talking about I think you're talking about this. Are you talking about the FX rate move? The 20 from FG is the only thing we've enjoyed so far. Sarcasm. Okay, sarcasm. MI from Akuka. Well, look, MI, if you are, I mean, if to give the CBN some kind of credit, if you are on the receiving end of these intervention funds, a cut in rates from 400 basis points from 9% to 5%, that's pretty significant. Yeah, if you've also been given a moratorium on your loan where you don't have to make another payment for a full year, that's giving you a break. And if you're in the pharmaceutical sector, healthcare, and they're aiming 50 billion naira credit, now of course there's possibly some requirements you'd have to meet to get access to it. Those folks are enjoying. This is good for them. But of course, again, like Benga said, like you're saying, what about the rest of us? I'd like to get a loan at 9%. I'd like to get a loan at 5%. I would love that. Let's see now. Papike says, the bold FPI will return this next auction big time, bro. The D word has happened already. Yeah, so it remains to be seen whether or not they will actually make that move and come back. Because remember, with the last auction, there was no appetite at all. Akeem says the NSC is suspending trading. Do you know how long it lasts? No, Akeem, what I heard is that they are trading remotely. They're going to be actually trading remotely. So trading is still supposed to continue, Akeem. So we'll see how that goes. Maybe there's some breaking news that they decided to suspend you, but I really doubt that it's gonna be trading remotely. Chai, what else? Valentine, how much time do I have now? Why are you back here? Okay, real quick.
Because I'm going to wash my hands.
You have to go and wash your hands. I need to wash my hands as well.
30 seconds more.
Okay, 30 seconds. What is going on? Aisha Buhari has called for a complete lockdown of the country. The UK, I think Valentine mentioned this in his news brief. Lockdown, no more than 2 people are allowed in a space. Boris Johnson is not playing.
I'm telling you, and this is the first time they're doing it since
World
War II.
That is amazing. So it shows how serious the things are. So Aisha Buhari is asking for the same thing. What would be the impact on the country if there's a complete lockdown? I don't know if our cash-based informal economy can survive with people who have to sell things, but we'll see how it goes. We got to wrap up now, but we'll see the outcome of the MPC meeting today. Thanks for all your messages. We'll be back tomorrow. Please wash your hands, stay clean, stay safe, and Business Express signing out.
That's true. Thank you. From that to a plenary sitting today, the anxiety is rife among the senators. We'll talk about this some more at 7:30 inside of Freshly Pressed 91. This is Smooth Breakfast.
Business Express on Smooth 98.
Yeah, I didn't know I wasn't here. So that's limiting everybody one.
Yeah. So Mazino Santakino last night said he cancelled his leave. People, every presenter, like all the way, please will do one week. So I'll be here through this week. I'll take off next week. Yeah, she'll be here next week. Same thing with Drive and everybody. So
Wow. This is
stringent measures, yeah.
very heavy.
Times like this.